conversation. We're just chilling, being ourselves, natural,
Yeah,
whatever.
Orlando can stare daggers into me. We can get
Oh,
that on camera.
I'm
I
not
think that's
staring at
against the
anybody.
law.
I'm just looking into space.
Look at that man.
That's a big boy.
Wow.
Look at him. Look how much of a good boy he is. Oh, look, uh, what a good boy. Look at that. He deserves it.
What's your dog's name?
Oh, he's Kimbo. His name is Kimbo.
Oh, cool.
A nice Dago Argentino. But yeah.
Oh my god.
So what was talked about last time?
A long day.
It certainly has been.
Yes. And it is always funny, like people has the whole day to send the invitation so they can be accepted to this club, but they wait to the last minute. So I always like during the call I had like start like adding a lot of people, but some of the time I don't even see them joining the actual call. It's just kind of like
People?
they want to be member of the club.
Oh, I see.
And they are all more than welcome. Whenever they can manage to sign in, that's okay with us. We will
That's
take
nice.
you whenever you can make it.
Yes,
I second that
that's true.
sentence. Well said.
You're welcome. I'm not complaining. That's not. I'm not complaining. It's just funny that they sign in right on the call, and
Dude,
then I like, oh, they're gonna join. They don't join the call. No, I don't get to meet them.
hey,
It's just fine.
a lot of people like to join stuff that they don't come. I mean, as part of the green, a member of the green team or a former member, there are so many people like that. But maybe some will do, some won't. Just whatever.
Adrian,
That's
are you still part of the green team? Because we're sharing the room with them at the club there tomorrow. It's the green
Nope.
team and philosophy club.
To be honest, I haven't been on campus for a long time.
yeah. Me neither.
Yeah.
Haven't been on campus too.
I don't know why I would though. Like motivation wise. I would love to. I guess. If it means talking to people. Sure, go ahead. It's
Well, yeah,
basically
I'm excited. I'm excited to network with them tomorrow and just see how they're doing their thing.
it's like
Right.
it's like the equivalent of like, oh, look at that free food. Let me join. I'll just join if it means talking to people. Like I don't even know what they've done really.
I can tell
Well, it
you.
sounds like you're really into it, and I look forward to seeing the great things that y'all be doing together.
Oh,
All right, should we? That was a white life, folks. Should we? Should we get into it?
sure.
Oh, you want to start right now? Right now? I mean, it's
Should
exactly
we
the
give it some
time.
more? What time
Yeah,
is it?
let's give him some more time. It's just got 30.
Okay.
Let me come on.
I
I'll be
mean,
back on.
I can do something that I do with other people. I just call them in to the call, just in case. Hello, Mianca. Hi, how are you doing? I mean, I can see you, but I cannot hear you. Your mic is on mute.
Let's see. What was I up to?
There is Debbie here. Hello, Debbie.
Mm, what was I up to?
Hi, I'm from Mountain View.
Oh, look at that. Oh my God, I'm so I'm blushing right now. How are you doing? Has been
Hey,
a good
welcome,
day
Debbie.
for you?
Debbie teaches philosophy at Mountain View.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes.
Glad you can make it.
Glad to be here.
I'm still accepting a couple of people.
I just thought of a dumb pun.
There's no such thing, Adrian.
No, because it's like a long shot. I was like, what do you? It was like it goes like this. Like, I hate when I do that. I was like, oh, let me think of a pun. It just makes it less funny. It was just like, hey, what do you call it when a philosopher gets high? What? Philosopher stoned.
I didn't get it.
The philosopher was doing something.
If you want to open up for me, I'm playing the Dallas Improv.
Mm,
You can do a quick
yes.
5 minutes.
Instead of
It has to be all puns.
the only fan letters I'll get is eviction letters.
All right, guys, I'm about to sign off. I think I've heard enough. So
Oh my God.
Man.
Come on.
Our plans work. You know, Adrian, we talked about humor last week. That was the topic.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
see.
It's too bad your
Nice.
invitation got lost in the mail.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely an accident.
Definitely an accident. Definitely. Yeah. I see how
Okay.
it is.
I guess we can have like 5 minutes and more people are still joining.
That's
But something that I can do is, I mean, it's up to you, but I can literally call every member to see if they want to attend.
yo, who up?
No, don't do that.
All right, sure, I won't. I mean, it's just a reminder. Oh, Marcus probably is having some issue with his internet. He just signed off.
Well, I am looking forward to this particular topic.
What's the topic?
He's lying. That's the thing, and that's the topic.
Yeah, well, it's not just lying. It's little lies, right?
Oh,
It's kind of seemingly insignificant lies.
I
I
see.
believe the topic.
Well, I did watch some Better Call Saul clips, so I'm an expert in this field.
Oh Jesus, we have an expert.
Having had you as a student, you're certainly no expert at it.
I don't know about that. I don't know. I was a good boy, never lied, never
Uh-huh.
did
He hasn't-
anything
He
morally
hasn't
ambiguous.
proved. That's what he's trying to say.
No need to prove if I'm already reached perfection. I hope that's the case.
All right.
This was a
It's a
hotly
good starter. It's a good starter. Ah.
Let me put my stuff away.
Hello. Okay,
And
so 5 minutes pretty much have passed, so we can start. And if somebody else start arriving, we can. Oh, we're about to start, and Jesus, who has been here for 30 minutes, just leave. That's such an appropriate time.
yeah.
All right. Thank you for coming back. All right, so we're gonna start. We're already recording. So hello everyone. I hope you're doing great. This is our third meeting of this semester. We are the Philosophy Club. Thank you so much for joining. And we are about to have a talk about a lie. Oh, well, not a lie, just this tiny lies. How is it that I should like name this? It's just lies, I guess. Okay, so in this matter, I'm gonna be honest. I would like somebody else to introduce the topic since it wasn't mine. And I think Orlando, you will be amazing. Look at you. Look at you. Oh my God. Just already.
It almost feels as if, you're just passing it on to me because,
I'm passing it to you because you have a
Ah.
video and you didn't show the video.
Oh, yeah, video. That's nice.
Yeah, so I believe it was Vivian who actually
Yes,
suggested
but I'm not completely sure if she's here right now. I cannot see.
is here. I see her there. But
Oh, a white lie. That's what it's called.
so the topic for today essentially is white lies. It's kind of a rehashing of a topic that we did last year, but the focus here is basically, are white lies okay? And in our lifetime, we go through a lot of traumatic events and we face a lot of obstacles, and sometimes it feels as if the truth is a little too difficult. So this kind of comes to a question, do we need white lies in our lives? Is that something that is a necessity, or should we live just an absolute truth? I have my opinion, and I'm just curious to hear yours. So whoever would like to start us off can go ahead.
Let's see.
Sure. I mean,
Or we can wait for the car to pass.
okay. So I guess I don't mind starting. That's all okay. So for me, I feel like every time I talk, it's always gonna be more or less the same thing. But regardless, I mean, it's like I said, it's like situational. It's person by person. Sure, and when it comes to like white lies, but overall, like in the general use of it, if it was a yes or no question of should white lies be used, I'd say yes, because sometimes the truth is not always the best thing to do in every situation. There will be situations that will just do more harm than good, and the way I think of it is like a white lie is just something like a temporary measure, depending on the situation. I think I need someone to bounce off of this because my idea is not perfect, like not clear at the moment, but it's gonna be developed.
No, it is okay. That's why we're here, so we can be further developed. Well, I do have my I guess a little bit of a strong opinions because when it comes to white lies, for me it's hard to really know exactly when the white lie is not white anymore. Because, for example, simple things that everybody does, like, oh, Santa Claus, like whatever, the fairy tale, like, is it really a necessity for us to lie about that? You know, I mean, it seems like, I don't know if stupid is the right word, but it seems so unnecessary to start like bonding with your kid in this case based on a lie that you know that eventually you will have to say that that doesn't exist. Would that really affect their experience as a kid? Just know that that doesn't exist and you can just give them the grief because it's tradition. Do you really have to say this become of Santa and not because it is you? Wouldn't they appreciate you more and have more realistic I guess gives proposals. I don't know how you said in English. If they know that it's coming from you and that you are gonna be providing the money, like I guess it would be more appreciative in that regard. I don't know if you agree on it or not.
Mm.
I want to go off that, Fernando. I think we forget just how much we lie to kids all day, every day. All these little white lies all the time. Are you really going to tell a kid, if they just saw their fish die or the dog die or something get run over, are you just going to say, yeah, they just died? And then coming back and they're like 4 years old, you're just dropping the bomb of death on them right there because you committed to yourself of no white lies, and now you're parenting and you're like, I got this. And then your kid grows up like really messed up because you never like led them up with it. You just said, well, the world is shit, son, and you're in it. He's like 5 years old, and he's like, Dad, what? He's like, no, this is the bedtime story I'm reading you today, okay? The crimes of humanity. And so he just reads you like crimes of humanity, so you are set then for the rest of your life. But it's like, so obviously white lies are necessary. I think we have to say that then, okay? And I think then it goes to, there's a degrees between them. Obviously, telling a white lie to a child is different than telling a white lie to an adult, I feel.
Yes. And before sorry, did you finish? I interrupted you.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, go.
Okay, and before I give the word to Kia, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrongly. I'm so sorry. There is something also that I want to say. Like, I do believe in this case we're talking about kids that I don't think we give them proper recognition to what extent kids are able to understand what society is, because and that actually goes into something that I've been looking into Mandy's class of moral, that kids, even whenever they are 4 years old, they already understand the good morality and bad morality and how things, I mean, not fully,
No,
but
they
they do
don't.
understand.
No,
They
they
do
don't. You gotta
understand.
teach it. You've never spanked a kid? You've never had to punish a kid because they know all already?
They do know. They do know that the
the
actions could
opposite
be
of what it
mean to
is.
somebody, Marcus. They do know that.
Mm.
They may not be
I've
completely
never
aware
seen
of it the
So,
full
right
extent,
from
but they
wrong
have a
ever.
basic knowledge about it. And it wouldn't be better for them to know about these things
mm,
earlier than
oh, okay,
later?
raise my hand.
No.
So
Yes,
like, so like,
it's
Good.
okay,
gonna
so
be
okay,
such a good
can
conversation. I have
I,
so much time without being in an opposite side from you,
can
Marcus. This is
I?
gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. But before we continue, let's have Kia a word because you're gonna take 30 minutes to say your part.
Also, we should introduce the chat rules, just so
Oh
everybody knows.
yes, sorry. If you want to participate, please text or well, chat exclamation mark, and we're gonna be able to
X.
follow the order of those who want to participate. But Kia,
So the concept.
um, I'm not sure if it is my internet or mic.
Yeah, I think she's muted.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
All right.
Oh,
I think the difference between white lies or just lies in general from a child to an adult is one for we see an innocence in children, and I feel like that is something that we mistakenly make sometimes. Their innocence in the sense that they don't know better, but that does not make them free of the crime. You know, think just because something is done does not mean that even if you're oblivious to the crime, if you are blind to the crime, does not mean that you have not committed the crime to begin with. I think we lie to children more than we lie to adults because we want to preserve that kind of innocence and that that childish wonder that we have seen before. Because as adults, you look down at those things and you go, wow, man, I really wish I was like 7 years old again, and like Santa was like everything to me. And, you know, the concept that magic could possibly exist and I could grow up to be this amazing superhero, you know, that concept exists. So you hope and pray that these little white lies that you give will kind of enable you in a sense. And when you lie to an adult, usually it's because of a consequence or wanting to avoid a form of drama. You know, because with adults, you hold the standard of they know better, or you know how somebody is going to react to something. So you say something in response to avoid confrontation or problems that might exist. So I think lies, just depending on age, kind of revolves around how we view ourselves and what we wish to deal with at that moment in time. Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of want to bounce off that. I mean, that was really, honestly, a lot of that, what you were saying, I kind of really agree with. And I think, I mean, I don't think necessarily it's just dependent on age, though. I also believe there's different intent behind different kinds of lies. You know, obviously you have some that are malicious, that are just completely fabricated to take advantage of someone. But then there can be other ones that can be used to cope. You know, I mean, obviously we should all be willing to understand and accept truth. But to some extent, you know, life is just so complex. It's so much of it that to some extent we have to kind of question what is truth, and is it always necessarily necessary? You know, like for me, I might believe that the world has no meaning. That might be a truth that I can kind of force upon someone in a sense, but for them, they don't have to see it that way. They can, in a sense, have a lie to say, well, no, this world is something much more. It's magical in a sense. And so although yes, it's kind of childish in the same sense, but it provides a coping. It provides sort of this hope that isn't necessarily found in truth. And so I feel like it can be from person to person, really, and it depends on how big the lie and what repercussions the lie can have. If it's a lie that's just keeping truth from someone and it can come back around to bite them, then that's something that you should weigh differently.
Yeah, but how can you completely tell the consequences of the lie? Maybe for you it is not a big of a deal, but for that person it could be a big deal. You know, it's hard to measure like that if it is on a person to person, because you're judging that based on your criteria, but not on the other one. So can we really create something a little bit more standardized? I don't know.
Well, it depends, I think, on what kind of lie, because there's different kinds of lies. You know, there's lie by omission, and then there's lie of like essentially you're just fabricating something. Like I think it really, really depends. You know, if you're the kind of person that's telling someone, "Oh, I love you," and you don't actually love them, you know, that's a different kind of lie than saying, "Oh, I think that works for you. I think that looks nice on you," or something like that.
I see. Hey, can I guess add to this idea this truth thing you brought up a bit earlier about when it comes to like when it comes to like talking to kids, I guess the reason why you should probably use white lies is I guess for when it comes to like children and such, I don't think they would be capable of like fully grasping such like abstract ideas or like basically how adults live in a certain way, because they haven't experienced that as much. So maybe a white lie is just like I guess it's like a wait until you're older kind of thing, because it's not because if they were to tell them straight up, they're just like they probably just say something like, oh yeah, I get it, but then they actually don't know, and then they just forget it, and then they'll come across a bit much later. Like that's probably I guess one reason why you can like throw a white lie towards the child in terms of an upbringing kind of sense.
I think also it's kind of necessary for social cohesion. It seems like the lies that we tell to kids specifically kind of comes from like our cultural ideas, and like to push certain like ideas of imagination, of wonder that later can like translate into, you know, innovative thinking. So it's like sort of like these cultural sort of like ideologies that we hold, we kind of turn them into white lies, so later on they can kind of come out and be something like a different kind of skill.
So like given the like an
Guys,
idea of
real quick.
Yeah.
I think Preston has his hand raised.
I was about to say something.
Yeah, I was just wondering if y'all could hear me before I said anything.
Yes, we
Oh.
can. But remember
Obviously.
remember, just as a reminder, it's better if you do exclamation mark on the text, so we can keep the order.
I'm not even a team member. Don't want to
Yeah.
able to.
Yes, sir. What I was basically gonna say though is like I think a big thing about white lies is we got to consider in that moment why exactly we're telling that white lie because by definition a white lie isn't as damaging as a whole truthful lie or a whole lie, but to me a lie is a lie. So if you can establish the reasoning that you're about to tell that lie in that moment, for the most part, I would be willing to bet that you don't fully agree with that reasoning, whether it be to be less harmful. That means your truthfulness is that damaging, and you should let them interpret and deal with that truth the way they should be able to be allowed to deal with it. So I don't know. It depends on what your intention is on why you're telling that white lie in that moment. If you don't have a good enough reason, then you got to understand that that person should be allowed to react however they need to react to whatever information you're withholding from them.
Yeah,
I like that point.
Definitely.
yeah, me too. And Jennifer is also saying something interesting here. I will read it. Well, you can read it. I guess it's better since I have an accent, so I'll mind that. But I do agree with her. Her, yes, Jennifer is her. That if you believe that a lie, even if it is with good intent, affects the energy, like it's still somehow bad, even if it is with good intent. um and it really depends, like the consequences, like it is hard to tell because the thing is, like, you like when if you are saying something to protect them, how do you know they're old enough to not be protected anymore? And how can you go straight to them and say, listen, I lied to you because I didn't feel you were grown up enough? So it really depends on how you approach it. It requires a level of communication that most people don't have with their kids because they still see them as kids. Like, for example, I'm almost 30, and my mom still, for some things, she believes that I'm almost a kid. She always tries to have that initial impulse to protect me, and I have to keep reminding, like, you don't have to do that anymore. And this is true for everyone. So it is harder whenever you start creating some habits to stop them, because for you it is also a way for you to, I mean, at least that is how I see it, um, to feel like you're still needed in a way. And this, Jesus is writing the text
I
instead of like
I
actually.
don't I don't I don't have access to text. I have to use this. So like maybe so I just want to add to this thing about like how adults see their kids and all that thing. Like saying like, oh, they don't know this stuff. Could you probably consider the idea of like of a parent like innocence, thinking of this idea of like their child is not grown up yet, like they just couldn't, like, I guess, fathom the idea of that kind of thing. It just maybe something like that is why they just doesn't, like, they just can't, like, be like that open to their children. Maybe the solution is just maybe the child does feel like I think the only way in that instance to be like, I don't know, messed with or broken is for the child either to like open up to the parents, or for the parent to actually, maybe, I guess it'd be like a bite the bullet kind of moment and actually have a conversation with the kid about like all these like all this kind of stuff, like I don't know, like I guess an example would be like the birds and the bees, like that sort of kind of conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to say that Kia, you want something to say, right?
Yeah, I wanted to add on to something that Mr. Preston Gray had brought up. Well, it's more of a question that I was asking that came to mind. If we're aware of lying and we lie in different ways depending on the situation, does that mean that would imply that lying is relative to those around us? So to one person, a white lie to protect them would be asinine and wrong, whereas to another person who is struggling mentally, that white lie would have been appreciated. And so does that mean that depending on the person, your lies are completely relative to your audience?
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, the instances that I lie, I may lie on something with somebody who I may not like with another, depending on how comfortable I am with that person and my experiences. Sometimes I know that some people do not deal well with certain topics, so every time that it has to be addressed, I just don't address them with them, but I will fully address them with somebody else that I know is more open to those ideas. So I do agree with you in that regard.
But I also kind of want to touch on that. I mean, I feel like even then it is relative, but sometimes it's something that we just do by instinct, you know? I think there's a statistic out there that like we as humans actually just lie on a daily basis without really even thinking about it. I mean, and I kind of find some reason in it, you know, like if someone is going through a hard time and they have someone who passed away, you know, you're not going to tell them, oh, everything's not going to be okay, everything's going to be terrible, you're going to be miserable tomorrow. You're not going to say that. You're going to be like, it's going to be okay. There's no way for you to know it's going to be okay, but that's just your instinct. And essentially, we react in that sense very, you know, in an innate way. So it kind of seems as if lying is kind of a trait to us. How you go about lying and what you go about lying about kind of depends on your character, I feel like.
More so the audience.
What? I'm
so
gonna
that-
guess this is a.
Is that a name?
I'm gonna assume it's a pun, so I'm gonna laugh.
No, I was. Those are most of my contributions. But no, I mean, what would be more important? I mean, going back to Orlando, you know, is the priority one's character, and that determines the extent to which one, you know, tells white lies, or is it again more to Kenya's point about the audience, which is to say, you know, sometimes even if you don't want to lie, maybe perhaps something out of compassion or empathy, perhaps it's natural as you're suggesting. That's more of a priority than, I guess, your individual character.
So maybe I guess another thing to consider is like
Hey, man.
I
Preston.
think Preston it was first. Yeah.
The only thing I'm gonna say to this is white lies can really benefit you in this world if most of like the majority of the time you're telling the truth. Okay. And I think that's another thing to add on to it. It doesn't matter who you're speaking to. If the individual you are is that individual every time, then that's what that person is gonna expect. Okay. So if they expect from you to be truthful all the time you do slip in that white lie, whether it be you do really look good today. I think that'll be more or less the best times to be utilizing white lies. But to me, there's no identifiable space to be using white lies if that's not who your character already is. Like I agree with you guys about who your character befits the way you lie. If you're not an honest person, then a lot of times you probably involve yourself in shady actions, you know, shady behaviors, things that could be looked at as backstabbing, and that's what people expect from you. So when you do go on to tell them something, they probably already expect it to be a lie. If you're an true individual, I think you can utilize white lies a little bit better in your life.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I do agree with that a lot. Now, before you go, Jesus, Carson is next. Do you have your mic on?
Sorry, it took me 1 second there.
It's okay.
Hi.
Hi.
I wasn't entirely sure about what I was going to talk about here. I took a couple notes when you were talking. And one of the things that I'd like to talk about is white lies about how people look. So that's one of the topics I've thought a lot about. And like, for instance, let's say you have a friend that is wondering if they look good. And they're like, hey, do I look good? And they send you a picture of themselves. And so what do you do there in the event that you think they don't? Is it better to just tell them and so that they aren't
Be a good friend,
disappointed?
whatever that means.
Yeah, but the thing is, what does be a good
I know
friend
exactly
entail?
what I would do. Well, I guess it would depend, but normally in those areas, I mean, you don't have to lie. If the person really looks like a clown, which is normally my preferred style, I will say, hey, listen, I do think that you're playing wrong the colors. What about you do something instead? So like the communication will help you do that without hurting. So if then the fear is not really of what you're gonna say, but the maybe incapacity of you knowing how to say it. But if you perfect your communication style, you don't really have to lie. All you have to do is communicate, knowing that the person will understand that you are not meaning something bad. You're just trying to help him be a little bit better.
That's
Yeah,
that's
that takes
very
a lot
yeah,
of
that's very true. You don't have to give them a yes or no answer.
Hmm.
But yeah, but to Carson, to your point, I think you're raising a really good point here. I mean, not everybody is as tactful as Ferdinando, so, but I think the idea here is this. Whereas really major lies, if you want to call them that, could harm a friendship or harm a relationship, maybe smaller lies, white lies, actually can make a relationship somehow be more efficient.
Yeah, I think I get what you're saying there
Maybe.
because sometimes it could be that instead of having somebody, if you have a really good friend, it might be not that the friend is always like, "Oh, you always look great." It's that they actually tell you what they think.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it goes back to also is like the character idea as well. Like if you know your friend, if you truly know your friend, you know if they'd appreciate being lied to or appreciate being told the truth. And I think it just depends on the person and who they are. So I believe Mianka, I'm not sure if I'm saying your name right.
Yes. So, real quick, can y'all hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No.
So, going back to and I don't even know if I have a point about this or not, but going back to, if somebody sends you a picture of, how they look in white lies, is it kind of a white lie to wear makeup or have surgical procedures or get a tan or things like that? I mean, to Photoshop a picture and then post it on Instagram, how does that come into play then?
No, that's a good point.
Good
Yeah.
question. Yeah.
I mean,
Good to
I
hear.
guess it depends on your on the reason behind it. I mean, if you're photoshopping because you want to say that you're like a physical culturist kind of guy who's gonna help you get into the best spot in your body shape, then Jesus, no. But if you're just trying to make you feel about yourself a little bit better, I guess you're not really hurting someone. Except like whenever somebody's interested and they see you in person, it's gonna be like, oh my God, that was rude. But yeah, I don't know if Akija, I think she wanted to say something.
Yeah. In terms of situations like that, you don't even need to lie to begin with. It's just how you carefully select your words. You don't need to lie to somebody who looks terrible in that ruby red dress that she's trying on. You can say, hey, that doesn't accentuate your features the proper way that it should. You don't
In
need to
your
lie.
opinion.
You don't need to lie. You just need to tell them that it's not good enough for them. It's because it's situations like that, it's not about lying per se, it's more of how you approach the conversation. If you simply just say yes or no, lie or tell the truth, it's less about how you tell the truth or how you lie, or it's not about whether or not you lied or not, it's how you speak of it. If you
Yeah.
lie, you have to give, some incentive or purpose behind it. If you tell the truth, you need to make sure that you are explaining why to spare their feelings because you're aware that it might hurt them just a little bit.
Yes. Before I jump to Jesus without jumping, actually, don't worry. Uh, I do agree with you, because well, if we were talking about white lies, if somebody really looks not in the best shape, and you allow them to do so because you feel like you're gonna hurt their feelings. Let's say he's trying or she's trying to go to like an interview for a job, and you don't say anything. How wide is that lie? So just because you didn't want it to hurt the feelings of that person to begin with, then he's gonna be seen as someone non-professional in a work environment that he's probably trying to land a job. So how really big of a white lie it is because of that. Um, Jesus, you're
Yeah,
next.
so I just want to talk all the way back from when you guys were bringing it up how to talk to someone like when a relative of theirs died or something, and you guys were talking about maybe factors on why you should do a white lie. I was probably considering something else as well as maybe you're you did bring up a little when you said your own character and stuff. but probably it should be also considered also like I guess like the context and knowing, and I guess your ability in whether you will be good in telling the truth, because there's situations like say for example, let's go back to that example, like you know like someone's death, right? And you're good friends with this person, right? But you don't know them that much. I like in this case, I wouldn't consider tell. I would just only give them a white lie because I wouldn't be the best person to tell them this. So it's that kind of thing. So
Okay. But
so
that kind of jumps in into what I'm saying. Then the white lie in this case is based on your um, vision of yourself being improperly able to communicate. So it seems like if you're able to just speak proper and like know like how to balance the situation, or at the very least assess how the emotional stance of the person is, you shouldn't be able to lie. I mean, if I know that there's some bad news that somebody needs to hear, I'd rather say it. I'd rather just say it. Um,
and then as I was gonna say as well, and considering in yourself and doing this, maybe it's like some like situation where it's like a path of least resistance. Maybe it's not your best, not it's probably not the best thing you could do, and try and like go like dedicate all your time in them and helping them like go through the truth. Maybe instead, maybe this like white lie will just make smooth over, and you wouldn't have to be in a situation where just this will just be a whole long process, and doing so, I guess it will just be like something you just consider for yourself. Can't think of anything more at the moment.
Well, let me piggyback on that real quick. Just quickly, I think that Adrian's making a really good point here, because everybody's been talking about white lies as though you tell them out of compassion or you tell them out of empathy for those who are saying we should use them. But maybe the real reason why people tell white lies is more selfish than that. Maybe it's more out of convenience.
mhm.
I
Am I,
mean,
am I, I mean, what do you
I
think?
mean, I
I
think
think
my
I think Jennifer has something to say.
yeah.
That's what I think.
Nice
I'm
one.
sorry, Jennifer. Did I interrupt? Oh, okay.
No, I don't know. Can you guys even hear me? Because I'm just sitting
We
in my
can
car.
hear
I'm
you,
Hear you.
yes.
Okay. Yeah, no, the point that somebody brought up about what we tell people at funerals and stuff like that, well, I can personally speak for the fact that when my brother committed suicide, somebody literally went to my mother and said, "Oh, how are you? You know, he didn't go to heaven, right?" Like, people will say some terrible stuff. So I'm just going to go
Jesus.
ahead and say that. But, but yeah, I agree with the point that telling white lies could be more of like a selfish thing. But I'm personally one of those people. I get called innocent all the time as an adult, and people lie to me, and I don't like it. I want somebody to tell me the truth all the time. I can't be a better person, or I can't do what I make the best decisions for myself if I don't have all the information that I need. And so that's just me.
Mm,
Yeah,
Support
I
Preston's
good,
point.
good
I was
stuff.
gonna.
Uh, Before you continue, I also know that Vivian, who was the person who actually introduced this topic, want to say something. Hello, Vivian, long time.
Hi. No, I just wanted to add like a little meaning behind like the word white lie or like the phrase. Like when I think of white lies, I don't necessarily think of like telling someone like lying to them about their appearance. It's more like telling something that has no harm or could cause no harm to someone. So if you're telling like if you have a friend who's dressing up like a clown and they're going to a job interview, you're not going to tell them, oh, like you look fine, like because that could sabotage them in a way. So like I think the whole idea of white lie is just something that's not going to hurt anyone in any way or form. And like at that point it's just like a judgment call, and not really like knowing how to lie. Like like when you tell someone at a funeral, like like, oh, it's gonna get better. I don't think that's really considered a lie. I think it's just like a phrase that we use, just kind of like break a leg or good luck or something like that. It's not really a lie because no one knows the future, so it's not like you're lying to them in a sense.
Yeah. I mean, but it's still some people. Whenever you just say it, they will tell you like there is no way you can tell. Like, how do you know? and then it's kind of like, whoa, I just know, like you're just trying to be like supportive. I do get your point, but there are some people who even that gesture for them is a little bit insulting because they don't need to be maybe felt pity. They just want to really have some type of words that go beyond that, which I guess I understand. But I also understand why somebody would say, "Hey, it's gonna be fine." Jesus.
So I was thinking of another situation which might be considered a white lie. Maybe the situation in which this one person lies to another person in order to benefit like a third party. Maybe could that be I guess considered a white lie? Because I don't know. Let's say for example, I always heard it in like elementary school when teachers brought up like, oh, like recommendations and how they always got like this they got one of their friends or someone to send them a recommendation, like be really positive in the recommendation, even though the friend thought they weren't good enough, but still wanted to help them out. So they kind of lied in the recommendation, thus helping out, their friend there. So maybe I guess would that be considered like a different way of doing a white lie?
I mean, that sounds like a major lie, like lying on your resume.
No,
Yeah,
no,
that
no, 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 no. I'm saying like like sure the person's not the best. Like you're just saying, oh, this person
could go
can
to
do
jail.
can do the job. Hey,
I mean,
I guess
I guess sometimes it could work if you just lie and then you put your work into it, so then you kind of like cover for the holes in it. But
I
you
mean
have to have some.
I'm just doing this based on definition, just to help out someone, or maybe I'm wrong. Who knows?
Well, I
Still
think a
no-
white lie, to Vivian's point, it's something like if somebody asked you, say you're at the bus stop or something, you're waiting to get on the bus, and somebody's like, "Hey, did you see this movie?" And you didn't see it, but you just go, "Oh yeah, I saw it," and then you get on the bus and never talk to them again. That's like a white lie. Are those that harmful? Does that really speak poorly to your character? If you're just like, yeah, I just don't feel like talking, so yeah, I'll just say I saw it. I mean, you'll never talk to the man again.
But why
You
can't
know
you
what?
just say I didn't saw it? Like,
think
what is
it's-
the issue?
This could be a
don't
long
have to
conversation
talk,
after that one.
and you can even just say I just. I mean, I don't want to talk. I don't know. But Vivian do want to say
Of course
something.
you can. I mean, I agree, but the thing is, a lot of people won't do that. Some people will just kind of say a little harmless lie to get through a social situation. And
Speak about the
like-
communication that we are like. There, we have to improve our communication, like for sure, educational wise. But Vivian,
I just want to bring back to the whole point about lying on a resume. I mean, I like when you're lying on, like, if you're gonna apply to if you're like to be a heart surgeon and you lie on your resume, that's completely different from lying saying that you have a couple of extra years of experience. That's not gonna hurt anyone, and it's not like you're gonna take someone's heart out. So when does lying become acceptable and not? When does a white lie become acceptable? Especially today's day and age. If you don't have a resume and if it's not good enough and you add a white lie, is that really gonna hurt anyone in a sense?
Hey, I'm
I
just
don't
gonna
know.
chime in real quick. Hey everyone, I'm Yusha. I haven't been much active
Hi.
lately.
Okay. I mean, you were
But-
next, and your floor is yours.
Yeah, I know that's why I'm talking because it is mine.
Mhm.
So, in my opinion, even something as little as a white lie could eventually or potentially harm someone, like the movie example or the resume example, right? What if your employer or the person you are submitting your resume to just out of a whim, they go out and reach out to the company on whose behalf you show the extra year or two of experience. So that doesn't only hurt your credibility, but it also spreads a bad word about you or any person doing that with other employers. So me personally, I hate when people do that, even if it's something as tiny as a white lie, because of a hypothetical phenomenon known as the butterfly effect. So I'm not going to go into much detail, but it generally states that when a butterfly flutters its wings, it hits against these millions of tiny particles, which hit some other stuff, and eventually, in a nutshell, it starts a tsunami or something. But that's an example of a butterfly effect. So one thing causes harm to other, and it's a domino effect, but it's vastly increased each time the impact happens. So me personally, I hate that kind of situations. And just to avoid conversation, I'm not gonna lie. If someone asks me, "Hey, have you seen this movie?" I'll be like, "No, I haven't." And if they're leading into further conversation, then I'll be like, "Hey, listen, man, I don't mean to like be too blunt about it, but I'm not in the mood of talking, whatever the situation is." So that's one thing that we can do without necessarily lying to get out of a situation.
I mean, there's like a difference with the whole like, like you said how like the employer will lose their credibility if they call and you didn't work there and like all this. I mean, that goes to the whole thing back to a white lie is not supposed to hurt anyone, so therefore that won't be a white lie anymore, and that's the difference between a white lie and just straight up lying. Like if you lie about like a movie or like what you like, that's a white lie because it's not hurting anyone. But like you said, the credibility thing, that's hurting someone, and therefore that just wouldn't be a white lie. That would just you be straight up lying. And there's a difference. There's like a line that's very different from one or the other.
So with that definition, any lie is a white lie until and unless deemed otherwise. Because at some point, you said Salim Keshwani? Maybe I have the spelling wrong. At one point or the other, the lie will eventually go out and hurt someone.
But I mean,
so
how would a lie about like? But how would a lie
you
about
could
watching a
example.
movie?
1590.
Yeah, Yusha is denying that there are white lies. Is what it sounds like.
No, I mean, I'm not denying the fact. I mean, sure, if anyone wants to believe it, they can believe it. But from my perspective, there's truth, and then there's a lie. There's no in between space where it could be half truth or half lie. Either it is, it isn't. It's black or it's white. There's no kind of vague scenario where half and half could exist.
I mean, but the world isn't black or white. There's a lot of gray area. It's a spectrum. Like you can't just say everything's black and everything's white because there's some like level of unclearness that you're gonna like deal with. So just saying that it's black or white, it's truth or false, isn't necessarily truth, because if someone asks you, "Hey, do you like sushi?" and you're like, or they're like, "Do you like sushi?" and then you say, "I like it." I mean, is there a lie to it? Like you like it, but you don't love it. So where does it fall between the black and white?
Or maybe you like a very specific sushi and not other type of sushi. But I do want to give an opportunity to Killa to say something, and then it will be Wells, and then it will be Jesus.
Hi. So oh, wait, I heard another person in the background saying if I could hear them.
Oh.
There, you're good.
Let me, Professor.
Oh. In context to what a white lie is, the concept of a white lie being something that cannot possibly hurt another person, therefore it cannot be a white lie. But if it involves a person in the first place, then there is the potential that it can hurt somebody regardless. So a lie involving a conscious being who is able to process it as information thus makes it more than a white lie, because it can still potentially hurt them. So by telling some random stranger that you absolutely loved Battlestar Galactica, he goes home and tells his girlfriend that he met somebody at the bus station who loves Battlestar Galactica, and that was just the last straw, and she's heard enough about Battlestar Galactica and breaks up with him. And now he's distraught, and all because you lied about liking Battlestar Galactica. You involved somebody. So that little white lie exploded into something else, that butterfly effect that we discussed.
That's very well put, Kaya. That's exactly what I was referring to earlier.
Yeah.
That every lie is a white lie until and unless proven otherwise.
The thing is, though, is that it can't be a white lie to begin with if it involves somebody, because the potential to hurt somebody, even if it's a lie to yourself, saying, mangoes totally agree with me. It's a lie. Mangoes will absolutely destroy my system. But I'm lying to myself. I've involved myself, and it's a white lie to some people, but it'll kill me. If it involves a conscious being, it cannot be a white lie by those definitions, because there's the potential to harm somebody else. Therefore, it cannot be a white lie to begin with.
I mean, but like the whole thing of like the whole.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay.
No, you can go ahead. You can go ahead. You can go ahead.
Huh?
Or Wells can go ahead, Loretta.
Yeah, Wells.
Well, I was trying to say, to me, I agree with the one person that a lie is a lie. And she, Vivian said there's gray in between a black one or a white lie and a black lie. That's not true. It's only if you think that. Normally, whenever you tell a lie, you have to tell. A lie just doesn't consist of one thing. When you tell one lie, you got to tell 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 behind it. Why go through all of that when you can just politely say no? If it's something you don't like, no, and don't add in. If you add in, then you have to keep adding in. So that's my thing with a lie. I mean, I don't believe in white lies because I just don't believe in them. I mean, if you want to add something on, that's fine. But to me, I'm like the other gentleman. Just don't do it. I'm sorry, y'all.
White lies are gateway lies.
See, I say that because in my culture, I come from the Middle East and I'm Muslim. So in our religion and culture, not that I'm piggybacking off of religion or culture, because then my statement would be phallus. It's just that it's a saying in our culture that a lie has no feet, and something that has no feet cannot stand its own weight. So that's kind of the balance about something being a truth and something being a lie.
No, Jesus, I'm sorry that he has his hand up like.
I'm sorry. I keep going.
No, don't worry.
It's just like when we did it in face to face. Like, so I was gonna say this, right? You know, after like 10 minutes or so again. What I was trying to say is, you know, when people are trying to talk about like the potential of it to harm, or like see, it's been so long I even forgot. Well, I was trying to bring up this idea is like sometimes at the moment, right? Like the tension is, you know, to like, it's to like, you know, do good to someone, right? It's to help them at the moment, right? And the knowing the potential will do harm or not. It's just, what I was trying to say was like maybe it's out of their scope. Maybe they won't really know the consequences, right? Not because we're not aware of everyone's like, you know, life at the moment. Maybe like all of us are just have terrible lives or something. We just don't know it and stuff. So maybe in this moment in time, you know, you're bringing up this white lie just because at the moment, from what you see, what you can visibly see is that it's only gonna do good. It's not gonna end up harming them later on, because it's just something you just couldn't see beyond your scope.
I want to say something real quick. So I kind of agree with this consensus that like white lies operate kind of on this slippery slope. But I kind of got a question for you guys. I mean, I don't know if I believe that they're inherently bad, because, well, what is the truth? I think that's something we have to question, because then what if someone, you know, believes in a certain religion and they tell someone else, hey, this God is real. That's my truth. Well, wouldn't that apply to someone else?
No.
Go ahead.
Everybody religion is totally different, because from what I can see here online, we all from different cultures. So you might have been brought up to believe something that your family have taught you. might been brought up to believe something that my family taught me. So that does not mean it's a lie. It means that that's what you were taught. You know, just like I can't pronounce his name, Gerard Demis. The person said a white lie can give emotional relief to someone, but may come off as hurtful. That's not true. If I have to lie to you to give you emotional relief, then I'm the bad person. At least I'm considered the bad person, because unless it's the truth, I will not do it. Because if I tell you a lie and 6 weeks from now, you bring up that same subject and I say something different, who do you think will be the bad person? It will be me because that person will say, well, you said this. So no, everybody on this line, from what I can see, look, we all have different cultures. So whatever your belief is, that's what you were taught by your parents. So no, that's not a lie.
But
It's
that
just
doesn't
what you was
necessarily
taught.
that
So
doesn't necessarily mean that
Um,
it's truth, because the truth is something that's going to be objectively just existing, essentially. So if you are a person, someone else is telling you that this exists, but you don't believe it yourself, you'll see that
Yeah.
as a lie. So
You
regardless, it's
you
not
have
your
to research first
so
lie.
and then determine if it's a lie. Because I come and
Well,
tell
let's say
you
you've
God
already
was
researched
here,
it and you
that
believed it to
doesn't
be a
mean he
lie.
was here. No,
so
Then
can
you
research.
I?
wouldn't agree. But what's a lie then? Is it not something
Uh,
that's not true?
well, I guess if we, I guess a truth and lie. I guess because we're humans and we're all fallible. By default, everything would be a lie, right? But but then the truth would just be considered what we consider to be truth. Maybe in telling them a white lie, we're just telling them our. So wait, oh my God, I just had like a little breakthrough. Maybe in telling them your truth, and in a way, you ended up telling them a white lie because you believe this truth would help them out. I just realized that. Could that be
Well,
it?
that's what I'm trying to tell you here, that like this idea that it's so clear isn't necessarily the case, in my opinion. That's kind of what I'm trying to bring up. But
Let's
Vivian,
let's walk away from things like these major topics, though. I mean, again, white lies. I think you have to pay attention. Again, if we want to use
Oh,
this definition, to the context. I mean, a white lie to Jesus's point, to Adrian's point, might be something where religion doesn't come up at all. It's more along the lines of maybe you just want to make friends. Maybe you're at a new school, and so you
yeah,
say to yourself, I'll just tell them that I'm into this stuff,
yeah.
so that they'll
yeah.
talk to me, and I can make friends. And then later on, once I've kind of made that introduction, I could then be myself. But you need that white lie to sort of break through to just talk to people, to be given a chance in the first place.
Mm.
Well,
Okay.
well, Mancy,
Uh,
can I
So
comment to
so
that just real quick? I'm so sorry. It's just like, well, anytime you're lying, essentially, even if it's a white lie, you're outweighing the truth. So it doesn't matter, like, to what degree you weigh this to be a truth or not. I mean, like I said, to me, it just goes back to this idea of a character. You know, if you're the kind of person that you feel you need to lie to be accepted, that kind of tells something about you. Like, it just really depends, because this idea of white lie, I don't think it has a real meaning or a real gauge or a real like limit, because for everybody, they're going to have a different definition or scope of what a white lie is. I may think something is harmful that another person may not think is harmful. And so for their instance of saying, oh, a white lie that won't be harmful, it's going to be different from person to person.
so
Yes.
uh,
Before you continue, Jesus, I know Vivian wants to go next. I'm just not completely sure if the comment that is very exclamation mark is also to be next, Yusha. So you also want to speak after Vivian? Yusha?
Jesus can go before me. He's been
Okay.
kind of antsy about
So
it.
so it is you trying to speak. Okay. So Vivian, you're next. You can distress now.
No, I just been keeping like notes of what like everyone's been saying, you know. But like I just wanted to go back to like the whole like okay, someone said about like there's no such like thing as like black or white. I mean, that's very true. Like it's very subjective to who you are as a person. But if there can be like things as moral committees or ethics communities if it was such a thing as like black and white. So like that was like my whole thing on that. And then also another point that was made was like, you know, like what if you lie and then it comes back to like it comes back and you're made to look foolish. Well, you know, like I have a really good memory, so I remember a lot what people say, like really a lot, and it kind of bothers me because people change their mind all the time. And I'm over here like, no, like you said this, and they're like, no, I didn't. And I was like, no, I clearly remember you saying this. And so I just learned that I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna that conversation never happened. So you know, the whole thing of like lying and like you looking like foolish. I mean, like you can change your whole point. I mean, like I was just gonna say like if you lied about something, there must have been a reason why you lied about it to begin in the first place. And also like the whole like the Battlestar movie type thing, how like, oh, that was the last straw, you know, like, oh, like this relationship's over. I mean, that was just like a small lie. And if you took that to heart and you brought it to you and you like involved it into your problems, I mean, that was on you. Like, that was just a small little white lie that didn't harm that person, and it wasn't supposed to harm you either. But if you let it harm you, then that's on how you are as a person, and that's your individuality. Like, that's if you let a lie dictate everything, then like if you let a lie dictate how things will play out, then a lot of relationships wouldn't still exist. How many white lies do people tell when they go on dates for the first time? Like, oh my God, like I love Harry Potter, and then you find out like 3 months later they hate Harry Potter. Or like, so like this whole premise of lying and a white lie is just to make people feel good, and it's not supposed to be taken so too hard. I mean, now if you're lying about having a whole a whole affair and having a whole relationship, that's not a white lie. That's just you being a liar and multiple things. So it's just it's what you want to let it mean to you. You don't have to take it so personal to how you feel. And also the religion thing. The religion thing, I understand. I grew up in a very religious household, and I understand we were taught that lying was a bad thing. But it's honestly, in that instance, I understand that lying would be considered bad, but it's on what you perceive as a lie. It's just perception, I think. I think it all just comes down to perception.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I guess what I'm understanding that you're saying that some people may feel like the lie could be better than the truth sometimes, and they would appreciate it more. I don't know. There was a part that you.
I mean, like a lie could be better sometimes. Like, not lying doesn't necessarily mean that you're like a bad person or an evil person. Sometimes a white lie isn't. Like I said, it all just goes back to the definition of a white lie. Like, there's a difference between lying, straight up just lying, and a white lie. Because how I thought of the idea of a white lie was actually, I read a book when I was a little kid about white lies. And the book talked about how if someone's like, the example in the story was, it was like a mom and her little kid, and someone asked the little kid, hey, like, where's your mom? And then the little girl was like, oh, my mom's getting her nose hair plucked because she has a lot. And so like they were told that like a white lie would help that situation and not embarrass the mom. So that's where my whole like understanding of white lies came. It was supposed to be a lie, not huh?
Was that a Dr. Seuss book?
No, I don't know. I like read it like a long time ago. So it was just like it stands for that whole little thing of white lies. But I mean, like, if you're letting a lie deteriorate your relationship or your life, that's something completely different.
Okay. Sorry. You want to go before Jesus, or you want to go after Jesus?
I wanted to go. I mean, like, I was gonna bring up something else, but I mean, I don't mind adding to that, like this idea of like, yeah, I mean, you do want like, oh yeah, actually it's kind of perfect, right? I mean, like, I guess in the situation when you're trying to hide something, not trying to show gives away this embarrassing detail. Like, I was trying to bring up is like this like avoid confrontation, or in a way, because if you were to tell the truth, now that as well could actually lead down to a road in which a lot of how like earlier people were bringing up, if you tell a white lie, this might lead to confrontation. Well, I believe in that situation, that might have led to confrontation. You might have been in trouble if you were just tell the truth and be like, and the mom was like, yo, why are you telling people I'm getting my nose hairs picked or whatever? Or I forgot. Sorry, I didn't hear that well. Like, I didn't hear her story that well. My bad. But like I was saying, it was just like maybe just telling this white lie is just to avoid confrontation and consequences that really in reality you shouldn't really, I guess, have to go through because they're not as necessary. I can't really develop the idea that well right now. Bounce off someone.
All right, Kaya.
Okay. No, I think Yusha was first, and then
Yusha.
Kia.
Oh wait, did he put his exclamation?
That's what I asked him.
He did earlier, yeah. Yusha. You there, Yusha?
I don't think he is. I think he
he is, but he has bad network, but he's there.
All right. Well,
I guess Kia
Kaya
then
next,
first.
I think. Yeah,
Well,
we
we
should.
haven't. We give him some time.
Yeah. So basically, with that concept in mind, Jesus, I think that it's, how do I say this? Whenever we could basically deduce that all lies, when you come down to the base level of it, are all selfish. So even if you're lying to protect somebody else, like for example, your mother is doing something super embarrassing and somebody asks something like that, and you think at your core you're like, okay, I don't want to mention this because it might embarrass her. You're doing those things because you care about that person and you don't want that person to be hurt. But to not want somebody to be hurt is still kind of selfish.
Mm.
They didn't ask for you to protect them at all, but you still did it. It's kind of a selfish thought, because what if she didn't care and was wanting to live a life of complete honesty and openness of things like that, and that kind of thing could have hurt her by lying about it. She didn't want that, and you selfishly lied about it to begin with to make it sound as if it was something embarrassing when it's not.
Can I respond to that real quick? I kind of
Oh,
have
okay.
some sort of,
I was gonna
well, like I think inevitably, we can look at lying like with this high-minded idea, if it's maybe it's negative or it's selfish in a sense, but I think inevitably we all do it anyways. I know, and I mean, I think literally everybody here has lied before. Now I think you have to kind of question yourself, why did I do it? Why did I rationalize it? So on and so forth. And so if that's the case, you also have to keep in mind that lying is for everybody is different. They might perceive it to be differently. And so with that the case, you have to kind of weigh, should I lie to this person or should I tell them the truth? Although it may be selfish, some people, like Fernando said earlier, they appreciate being lied to. Maybe I had a friend who, when she was entering college, she was panicking, she was worried, and I was like, oh, it's going to be hard for you, I'm not going to lie to you. And she told me, you know what, I wish you had lied to me. I wish you would say it's going to be okay. And that's literally something she told me, and that blew my mind because I thought the truth was always the best. But that's the whole point, is that we live in a world where people don't perceive things the same. We essentially live in a world where some people may appreciate truth and others might not. And that's that. Like,
And you bring it to the
so-
topic then, like, I
Oh
guess
my
in the part of the
Let him finish,
definition.
let him
I'm so
finish.
one
sorry.
more thing. When you
Oh,
have a
sorry.
who always tells the truth and they're typically perceived as, I'm going to cuss here, as an asshole. You kind of have you kind of look at them like as
Depending on how you
an
speak.
asshole. So why is that? Because the truth isn't always nice, and that's the
No,
point.
but it depends on how you mention the truth, though. But I do believe, just in the purpose of defining white lie, that if we're saying that white lie is something that is not going to hurt that person, then if the person is not actually appreciate that lie, then it's not being hurt. So there is a white lie.
Okay, I would
So
add this.
I was gonna bring up.
On that dilemma, you just mentioned as long as a white lie doesn't hurt a person.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry if the video quality is bad. I'm on my.
No, it's okay.
You mentioned as long as a white lie doesn't hurt anyone, it's okay. So, what becomes the deciding factor that a lie is a white lie, or anything regardless?
I would
Under
say it
that-
would be something. I was gonna
How
say it
do
was something like I guess a case to case basis. What's the point? Like I think this is what we've been bringing up this whole time. Like what would be when to bring it up or not to. But as well, I wanted to bring up 2 points that Orlando and what's your name, Kaya, was bringing up. This now it's been long, and now that I forgot Kaya's point. But then now, okay, Orlando, your point. So you know how you said this thing about how you always thought telling the truth was a good thing, or yeah. So I feel unless I could tie it up with telling lies to kids, because maybe that's you lie to the kids to set a baseline of what's more moral or not. You tell them the truth is always good because if you don't, you might there's a good chance that they're just gonna not be always as true. It's not about knowing if it's good or not. It's just about saying it's just the basic idea of telling the truth is a good thing, because then when they grow up they just have that idea ingrained in their mind. But as well, I wanted to bring up this other idea of the truth. Oh yeah, because of the truth of like hurting people and stuff. Like saying how lying to someone hurts. Or oh my god, it's been so long I forget everything.
It's alright. It's gonna be fine.
It's not gonna be fine.
Butterfly effect of a lie.
I don't have access to text. Everything's terrible in my life.
Do you mean the butterfly effect of lying?
No, I already brought up that. But I mean, no. What I mean is, no. What I mean by like telling the truth, like, oh, yeah, okay. Now I got it. Okay, it was a selfishness thing. There we go. Now we're getting into. Now,
You see?
you know what?
I wasn't
appreciate
lying.
that.
I wasn't lying.
So what I was trying to say
Right
is,
now.
so I was saying like the selfishness, this being selfish, I guess, tying it in with the character thing. Maybe this person wants to be, wants to be lied to, right? But because you're just so, I guess, like you just want to like have that character thing, like you say, like, oh, I'm so truthful and everything. You tell them the truth, but that hurts them like a lot, and thus that would be considered selfish. I mean, sure, you'd be truthful to yourself, but it'd be selfish in the sense that it ended up hurting someone in order to like maintain this presence of a truth, instead of like willing to like go against your own character and lying for the sake of this other person. That was what I was trying to bring up.
And at that
Okay,
point, you can
thank
just ask
you.
yourself the question: what is wrong with being selfish? That's
I don't
just
think
a
that's-
construct that we have built for ourselves. So what's wrong with being selfish occasionally?
Well, I remember that good old philosophy talk, and I'd say there's nothing wrong with I say baseline wise, there's nothing wrong with being selfish. It's just nice, It's nice being selfish.
Exactly.
But-
People say to be selfish
mean-
occasionally for your own mental health and take care of yourself, and that's considered a fine kind of selfishness. But lying for the case of somebody else in selfishness is not considered okay. So at that point, you can ask the question there of what is selfishness, honestly.
Well, I feel like it's just something that just goes down to the question of like your own self. It's just I just say it's like it's like for everything I believe it's just a case by case. Depending on your character, your context, or the situation. If you believe that in that case if it's good to be selfish, then go ahead. Do what you got to do.
I mean, basically, it's not a question of what is selfish, but rather what isn't selfish in the acts that
Yes.
we do day to day. I mean, we're
That's
talking
true.
about
In this
hobbies.
case, yes.
In one of the older meetings we had, we actually went over what being not selfish is.
Okay, but Vivian do want to say something, and she's getting frustrated. So go ahead, before something happened.
Really not. No, I was just kind of reading the comments, and I kind of got inspired by something that Jennifer said. She was talking about her personal experience, but she said something that kind of like sparked something in my head, and it was like, a target for predators, right? So, there's predatorial people out there. It can be a predatorial woman or man. But like having to lie in a situation like that, like, if you have a stalker or if you're somewhere and you're really uncomfortable, that's a white lie. So would y'all say that that's being selfish too, and being that what does that bring up? Like if you don't feel safe and you lie, you resort to a white lie, like they ask you, oh, where do you live? And then you're like, oh, I live like in
Like
Florida,
maybe you tend to say like in self-defense, and maybe the
like not in self-defense, but like there's sometimes as people that we meet people who are really sketchy, meaning sketchy people, and like you have to lie because you just don't feel safe in that situation,
I myself have two sisters that are older than me, and out of everyone, I understand that. But again, why would you have to lie and not?
But I mean,
I don't trust.
Well, I'm gonna kind of stop you there. I mean, like there's people
for the situation.
But there's people who like, you tell them a small thing about you, like, like let's say you're out at a club and you're talking to someone, and then that like you don't feel comfortable by the situation, and they keep insisting and asking you questions. So you resort to a white lie, like they ask you where do you live, so you resort to a white lie, or where they ask you where do you go to school or what do you do for a living, so you resort to a white lie for not exposing yourself for your own safety. So in that sense, is it still selfish to say a white lie, and is it still wrong to say a white lie? Because I feel like a lot of people, like in this discussion, are saying that saying a white lie is really it's wrong. It's morally incorrect.
Ooh,
I don't
well,
know. That's what I'm picking up from certain
No, wait.
people.
well,
I have a question.
Yeah.
I was just
What the hell?
I was just gonna bring up that I agree with you on that part because, well, you know, that definitely goes with the idea of, like, you know, using a white lie to avoid confrontation and avoid, I guess, situations and such. So yeah, that would be a prime example of that, I guess.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's funny that people are bringing up Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny as examples of white lies because those lies won't be around anymore. As soon as a 3-year-old can get on a computer, your 3-year-old's going to type in Santa Claus and see it's a lie. So those days are historically.
But yeah, but you just had a question. I just don't know exactly what happened.
Oh yeah.
No, my phone keeps disconnecting. The only question I had was, again, why? See, I understand that you're at a bar, someone creepy comes up and keeps asking all these questions, right? But why would you keep entertaining them, and why would you keep engaging in the conversation with them? If they ask you something and you're uncomfortable with it, then there's bouncers at the bar, there's waiters at the restaurant, there's 911 just a call away. I mean, unless you want to be engaged in that conversation,
That's not
then
true all the
and
time.
then we can keep them engaged. But
Do you think
That-
Santa Claus is bad?
You
Do
have
you think lying to your kids about Santa Claus is bad usually? Yes or no?
Huh?
Do you think lying about Santa Claus is bad or good?
Bad.
Okay.
Well, I just want to say, and maybe in the case of, like, you know, you being found in that situation with that sketchy person, maybe it wasn't you who came to that person. Maybe it's that person, like, constantly pushing on. So maybe you just can't escape. Thus, the only way. Okay, you go ahead. You wanna go
No,
ahead.
yeah,
No,
but before
I mean her.
but breathe. But yes, I
No,
do
let her,
believe that this
let it all out. Go ahead.
I do believe that there are instances in where you cannot avoid it. Sometimes that person may even be contacted with those who are supposed to help you, and you can't really just have those options. But go ahead, Vivian.
No, I was just gonna say, like, you know, like, that was very true what he said, everything, like, why are you entertaining someone? But some people sometimes are insistent. Like, it's not you really having to, like, trying to entertain them, and sometimes people are persistent and like they're gonna keep on bothering you till they get something out of it.
So you're following
and
peer
that
pressure.
So are you
No,
not allowed
not
to
peer
say it's off limits or either boundaries? I mean,
That's what I'm
does
saying,
that
because
not work nowadays? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
Because
we're
growing
drifting.
up, I was taught never to open the door when I'm at home by
drifting from
myself.
the topic. We're drifting from the topic.
We're hitting on moralities and stuff
Well,
and
here's the thing.
situations.
Here's the thing. We can potentially raise this as a suggested topic for next week. But let's again. We're 15 minutes over. I just want to make an announcement in case anybody had to go at 4:30 or they have to leave now. The Philosophy Club is going to be engaging in the club fair tomorrow. It's going to happen at 11 a.m. It's going to go till, I believe, 1 p.m. So if you can, come drop by and share your experiences with people who might be interested as well in attending the club fair. Again, it's going to be through Microsoft Teams, just like this meeting is. So, and also if you're interested in just checking out the other clubs at the Richland campus, granted it's all virtual this semester, it's a great opportunity to see just what we have to offer. So I wanted to make sure that we plug that clearly. And again, we're approaching 5 p.m. Maybe we should consider some topics for next week, or if anybody has any thoughts, again, on white lies before we move on. I will say this about white lies. I tried to think about the most impactful white lie I've ever told, and it was had to do with the Santa Claus thing, but it was the opposite. I realized at a young age that Santa Claus wasn't real and all that stuff was fake, but I saw how happy it made like my mother. So I just kept lying to her, pretending that I still believed in Santa Claus and stuff, even though I didn't. And I thought to myself, well, I'm doing a good thing here. This isn't harming anybody. Again, people were talking about the innocence that children have. It's like, yeah, let my mom think this is still, fooling me. It makes her really happy. And then she sat me down one day and was like, I'm really concerned that you still believe in these things. And it backfired. And then I said, of course, no, I don't. I stopped believing years ago. I just been doing it for you. And she was like, yeah, okay. She didn't believe me.
So it's like that. It's like that. Parent innocence brought up.
That's funny.
So that's an example. But any final thoughts or any ideas for topics? I guess we could do what we always do at the end. We vote for topics.
Well, if all else fails, just put on the philosophy of parking. If all else fails, I don't know.
I think that was
nice little debate.
I don't know.
I couldn't hear, so I cannot reply. So
Oh,
it's
good.
fine. Okay. So any suggestion for topics? We did have a couple of them last week. I just don't completely remember them. I just know that Mansi lost again. That's all I remember clearly.
Yeah, what was the top? There were two topics. They were neck and neck. What was the second topic?
Mine. I just don't remember my topic. Oh no, don't worry, Nicole.
If it's in the chat, you can go back and check it.
Yeah, we can go back and check.
Oh, that's true. We can do that.
Because the chats on Teams stays, unlike Zoom.
I don't know. Purpose of a role model? Purpose?
I know I wasn't here last week, but it's just a suggestion.
Yeah. I'm trying to see.
Oh yeah, tragedy. That was fun. Yeah. Tragedy as opposed to comedy when we were considering the different genres of art. Because we talked about beauty the first week and then comedy or humor the second week. Today was lying.
Something, I don't know if this is exactly allowed because something in my class, Miss Benton's class earlier this semester, I think it was like first week, we were talking, it might have been the second week. It's kind of blurred together. I've been studying so much. We discussed the topic of perfection. And I have been in a mini conversations with my family and friends about the idea and just what defines perfection to each of us. And I have an interest in that topic itself and would like to bounce ideas off of other people.
Thinking of that and thinking about what we talked about, how about something that's a little bit in between of perfection and lying? How about optics and the morality of it, maybe? Of saying how does one put themselves, or like has themselves shown to the outside world compared to who they really are, and the morality of it in the situations in which you should, use optics and which ones you should just be true to yourself. Maybe something along the lines of that.
That feels a little more like self-identity, which is what we're studying this week.
Look at that. We can write you your own essay. Don't tell her, okay? She'll definitely not hear it. She'll definitely not see this. She'll definitely. Don't worry. She will never see. She'll never hear of it. She'll never
I'm gonna
hear
earn
of
my
it.
grade. No, it's just more like on the perfection topic and what really defines it in certain situations, and kind of like more like human perfection is more thing, because we use the word quite often, but I feel like we as humans can't be perfect, so we cannot create perfect things either. So I'm kind of just like, I want to discuss the topic a little.
Yeah, I guess the best example on that would be Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa. I mean, she's imperfectly perfect. It's her smile, it's her skin tone, the no eyebrows thing. I mean, all imperfections that make one of the most expensive pieces of art to have ever existed. So I think that would be a good take on it.
I think it's going to be similar to what we did with beauty.
Yeah, I think so.
Very similar, because it's like this idea of subjectivity and like how we kind of hone in on what's beautiful or what's perfect, rather. We can definitely tackle that. Any other suggestions from you guys?
Professor Manzi, do you want to bring a topic that we're just going to deny?
Yeah.
Placeholder topic.
We might as well maintain tradition.
It is a
Why not?
tradition.
Let's just
We
throw
already,
we gotta
did
keep
that. We already gave you a whole month of themes. So, like, what else do you want from us? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, my topic went last week, so I don't want to monopolize.
Oh,
Tradition, upbringing, how we act, what we do in life. You know what? I don't mind that. It's all good.
I think that the one that I mentioned last week was like how we connect with other people, like that sensation that you have from other, but
Oh,
cannot
universal,
explain.
like
I'm trying to remember the words that I use.
something with consciousness, or was it, or like?
It is around those lines. It's kind of like sometimes you have someone and you're able to even like there is a feeling toward every single person. It's like a connection that is not physical. It's
A collective consciousness, you could say.
A hive mind.
I think so, because like it's like this idea where basically you get so close to someone essentially that you can kind of you feel what they feel in a sense, or almost like you understand them so well. I don't know.
Let's say, for example, like you meet someone and that person makes you like feel, even the thought of that person, you connected with different senses and different like feelings. But then when that goes away and you feel something different, sometimes you miss. That's something that is not, the person's still there, but it feels different. And I'm trying to see like how can we word that? Like is that feeling?
Kind of like transcendent ego.
Something like understands. Well, to be honest, I also say it in the most plain terms. I just say understanding someone's true feelings, maybe.
Not true feelings, but I mean it's around this line, I guess.
I mean, it sounds like you're talking about
I
relationship.
understand what you mean, Ferdinando, but I guess that would fall under kind of the sixth sense that we went over in one of the last meetings.
I don't think that's it either. It doesn't sound.
No.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean. Like when you meet someone, even for the first time, you feel that there's some commonality.
No,
some
but
kind of-
I'm not even talking about like that type of connection. Is
If there's something, what
okay.
is
For example, sometimes you Vivian
something?
Vivian is trying to study.
No, I'm talking to myself.
I was like, it's someone
No,
trying to
it's
come
fine,
to
it's
you.
fine. But no, but what I'm trying to say is like sometimes like you meet someone and that person makes you feel completely different things, and maybe I don't know, it's not even about someone in particular. It's sometimes it's a song, and every time that you hear the song, you have a specific feeling that connects you to that song, but it's a feeling that I can't really describe, but it's there.
Well,
And
it's
nothing else makes
abstract.
you feel that thing. It's like that connection that you create with things and how you develop them, and even how important they are, because sometimes you do things pursuing that feeling, but it's not a physicality. It's just something that is there and you can't explain.
That's
You
kind
mean
of
it's
related to. It's kind of related to Susan's topic in a sense. Like, I mean, we don't have to boil it to identity. It can be like sense of self and others. Like basically, like what kind of connections you can make with other people, and like like how your sense of self affects others and how they affect you.
I guess.
This sounds like so much of my homework topic. I'm so excited.
Oh my god!
Well, guys,
It's
I'm
another
gonna put
reason
the
to
three
be.
topics.
I'm gonna be
in the
ready
chat.
for next week.
I'm gonna put it in the chat, guys. If you can type a number to vote for the topic.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right.
Oh wait. I can't.
something.
Chat. Let me. It's only available to team members.
I just had an idea. I was talking to myself. Sorry if y'all heard that. I was just thinking of someone said the idea of perfectionism. So I thought about like a perspective. So what is perspective philosophy? Which is like I like looked this up right now because I like had an idea and I ran with it and I went to Google. So like it like a perspective philosophy is like a kind of philosophy that looks to explain how the world works, which I feel like I was kind of going along with like perfectionism, because you know sometimes we have this perception of people being perfect and how like that applies to the world. So I was just thinking about that when someone said perfect.
Okay, so I'm guessing you're voting for that topic.
So I have a question, right? What are the topic numbers?
Topic on its own. It kind of seems like it's related to identity and perfection.
Hey, so what are the topic numbers? I can't type in chat, so.
But yes,
So
but
let me go
he's
ahead.
writing it.
So let me go ahead and type it in, guys, real quick. So number one is What defines perfection, or rather sense of perfection? Number 2 is sense of self and others, and 3 is traditions. That's just that placeholder topic, of course.
Okay.
I
just-
wasn't suggesting traditions. I said it's a tradition for me to be denied.
Yeah.
Well,
We're just
No
talking.
one is gonna pick number 3.
well, you know what? At least just know I have that out there.
Can I spam?
No, don't do that.
Please.
Hey, wait. Are you spamming? You're spamming too? If so, go
Uh,
ahead.
I'm gonna spam the chat because that's what I'm good at.
Am I legally allowed to vote for myself?
Yes, as a matter of fact, you are.
That's nice.
Come on, guys, let's vote.
1.
Hey, count my vote. On the
Yeah, yeah, I counted.
Thank you.
Dang it, this freaking purple chat bubble is annoying. Okay, I can't tell. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do do boo do boo. Okay.
Yeah. Jesus is voting too.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
So
Dang it.
Jesus
No, it's not a tiebreaker, John. It's 5-4. So we just let
again, John. No, John is again my success all the time. He always goes the other way.
No, it's okay.
So-
He's not gonna have that this time unless he does it, which would be annoying.
So
3, 4. I don't know if everybody's voted or not. I don't even know who's all here.
No,
there's 10 people.
All right, I'm gonna give you guys 1 minute. Once it's 4:59, I'm cutting off the votes. It's taking too long.
Okay, it's 11 people. There's 11 people in chat.
Once again, guys, to vote, look at the chat and the number you want to win. Just vote that number,
Yeah.
and it's gonna cut off.
no, you are
John,
the
can you
one
vote
who's
for two so it's
missing.
equal?
No, you're not. It's missing one person.
That's-
But I think 2 is winning so far. That's the
They
thing.
got 1 minute, man, and that's it. Oh
Yeah.
no, no!
6 to 5.
No, too late. Why you do that? No, it's
Let's
a tie.
go.
That's messed up.
That's just a tie. Like
There's no
we
way
don't have
to,
enough.
like- And then I think Jennifer, it might be no, she voted too. Dang it! Who else voted?
Okay, call it a day. One wins.
No, it's both are tie.
So it's a tie.
It's a
So
tie.
John,
There's 11
John-
people here. How can it be there be a tie?
It's 5.
Because we're
It's
saying-
6 to 5 right now.
is it 6-5?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2.
Now there's 10 people.
Thank you for joining, Miss Benton.
It's 5 and 5 from what I can see.
5
on
is
the
5. She's
Well-
just trying to win. I don't know.
Well-
we need somebody else, or just
Uh,
like a coin flip. But we cannot really do that. And
There's
believe
10
that
there's
the
now
other
there's
person
now
will-
10
Okay, wait.
people.
Let's wait for everybody to go, and
Hey,
then
Okay, guys, I got this.
and then we'll
okay.
secretly pick it, and then it's the topic next week.
Okay, look. Okay, guys.
All right,
Okay.
everybody go.
There's
Bye-bye.
okay, look. Okay, guys. Okay, so
Aha.
oh wait, you guys can't see my screen.
No, we
No.
cannot.
All right. Well,
Okay,
what is this?
okay. We're having a coin flip. Okay,
No, we're not doing that.
Yeah,
no, because we have a deadlock and there's now less than 10 people.
yeah,
Let's do
that's
Okay.
true.
revote.
Oh my God.
No, not revote, not revote. Just
Okay,
flip the
Okay.
coin.
okay.
Flip the
Heads
coin.
1, tails 2.
But
No.
okay.
No.
No, come on.
That's why I didn't want to do
Technology
it.
is my success. Oh my
That's
god.
why I
It's
said revote.
It's a 50-50 chance.
No, it
No.
wasn't.
That's
No,
why.
it's
I
No,
flipped
it
it.
wasn't. That toss is like
It's actually
great.
49-51 if you take into account the side.
There's no air. There's no air in that.
It's not 50-50.
It's not. It's not a coin.
50-50.
There's no air. There's no air.
I call for 2 out of 3. No,
Alright, let's
nothing.
revote.
Okay.
Let's revote.
Uh,
Now let's
2
do
out of 3 isn't a 50-50 chance anymore.
okay.
There we
Tails.
go. That's
Tails.
not- no,
Very
stop it. Don't do it again.
convenient.
Yeah.
Let's go. Oh my god.
All right, sounds fair.
So fair.
It's so
Okay,
great.
okay.
Due to zero shenanigans, it's
It's
number
okay.
2.
It's okay. Kia still wins because it's her topic anyways. Like it's her school related topic. So
Oh yeah.
I
True,
win
that's
either
true.
way. Well,
Exactly.
actually,
But
because
I
it'll be
also
next
win.
week-
No,
Because
get out of here.
it's
Get outta
because
here.
it's going to be next week's topic. it's not this week, and my class for all of it is this week, so I'm not like getting ahead in any way.
Yeah.
I'll just be prepared to have an argument.
There you go.
Yeah,
Instead,
at
you,
least
you got
can prepare
tails.
for the next one.
Not ahead. Rip.
All right. Well, thank you so much. 2-1.
Professor Manzi, we should do the Socratic circles more often.
Yeah. Also, I should
Yeah,
be given. Also, I should be given access to should be a team member because I don't want to be doing this every time I want to speak up.
You can't text?
No, I can't.
You can leave it in the chat.
We're gonna cancel your video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna cancel
Okay.
everything about you. You're just gonna have to
Looks-
sit here and listen from now on.
Looks like I'm getting canceled. Damn.
All right. Well, thank you so much. It was good to have you guys.
Thank you very
Thank y'all
much.
so much for
Thanks,
sharing,
guys.
and see y'all next week, hopefully.
Can I get some social media? All right.
See you guys next week. Bye.
I'll
And
stay
next
here
Bye.
10 minutes after this is
See ya.
all.
Thanks, guys.